Good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. I am Tim here, back once again, but this time with the GP2 series in Speed Force Racing and with my co-commentator, as always, for the GP2 anyway, my love, otherwise known as You Can Beat Me. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Tim. How are you?
I'm pretty good. This is the first time that I've commentated for a race in the GP2 series, so I'm very excited to see what caliber of driving skill we have in this series. I have tried to familiarize myself with the point standings, and it looks like so far Omega X has pretty much ran away with the points lead and might be able to clinch the championship today. He's got 221 points. His closest rival is Envy Nelly in second place with 192. So Envy Nelly is going to definitely be looking for a good race today if he is going to have any chance of securing the championship here in the next 3 rounds.
Absolutely. Omex has been really strong this season, especially if I was just looking at the last few rounds. That's from Singapore to Russia to Japan and to USA. He has scored the most out of the top 5. And he can actually clinch the title today if he wins and Vinelli fails to score any points, which is something unfortunately what happened in USA. I think he had a crash in the wet conditions, which is why he was not able to score any. So as you said, very important race for him to take the title challenge into the final 2 races of the season.
As we wait to arrive in the paddock, it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a cloudy day, but so far it looks like we have dry conditions. Maybe one of the drivers will be very nice and give us a weather update soon. But so far, dry conditions, just waiting for the qualifying to officially kick off as we pull up our tire strategies and everything like that, which honestly, from the GP3 race yesterday, I feel like a lot of the guys are just going to go ahead and qualify on the soft tires and then maybe go for either a soft to hard strategy or soft medium. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be, as I see Cobalt in probably the Red Bull. He has fitted a set of mediums, but I think starting on the softs would be the preferred strategy for now, and I think a lot of drivers would be probably going for that soft medium because the amount of grip which the mediums will have over hards, it is possible to make a 2-stop work over here.
So currently looking at Ace Cobalt, he's the first driver out for his outlap and on the medium tires, as you mentioned. So we'll ride on board with him, give you a nice look of the race course here. Yesterday in the GP3 series, this particular section was a very action-packed section of the race course, so we might see the same thing here today.
Yeah, this is in fact a really exciting track, especially the first sector, because even if you get overtaken on the main straight, you have the DRS straight in sector 1 itself, in which you can get the position back, and it's pretty much one line of stern for the second and the third sector, which is why you would want to be ahead at the end of sector 1. So this should be a probably, as you say, action-packed sector or action-packed part of the racetrack in this race as well, as Cobalt is starting his lap. You want to take us through it, Tim?
Yeah, we'll ride on board with this lap here. As he crosses the line, you have a very long front straightaway that you have to deal with, so it is very crucial to get a good exit out of that final corner so that you can get the maximum speed down this straightaway, because then you're going to have to slow way down. Looks like he's braking at about the 100-meter mark. So you got to slow way down for that first corner, and then you have a little bit of a chicane through the second and third corners. Then you need a decent exit out of that corner so that you can set yourself up nice for this DRS straight. This is where we might see a lot of passing today, so this is where we need to keep an eye on. And then another somewhat of a chicane, and now you're in Sector 2, and it's a nice little slow sector. It gives you a chance, at least me personally, when I drive around this track, to kind of relax for just a minute and think about what I'm going to do. But then you approach what I think is probably the hardest part of this race course, and that is these S's. Yesterday, we saw that these S's would make or break a driver's performance, and it just broke Ace Cobalt's performance as he clipped the curb a little too much, got a corner cut penalty, and his lap is invalidated.
I think behind him, Nelly is on a lap in the Ferrari, who would be one of the first people to set a competitive lap time on this track this evening.
So let's see what Nelly does out of this final corner. Looks like he's going for that banker lap, and he goes to pole. Of course, the only driver so far to set a time, but the time to beat is a 1:14.2. He quickly pulls over to let the rest of his competitors by. So we're looking at SFR Nova, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Nova is a brand new driver with us today, as Morris Pace goes to pole with a 1:14.1.
He is. So Nova in that McLaren has replaced Quinton, I believe, and he is a full-time driver going forward for the final 3 races of the season, along with Route 222 Ding in the Renault and Time as Chip Up. I think he is in the Ferrari, I believe. Yeah, he is in the Ferrari right now. These are the 3 drivers we have who are our full-time drivers, and Old Boy is reserving us for GP2 tonight.
And look at this, the Ferrari driver of Tim Chipop goes to the pole, a 1:13.464. That is an impressive lap. Omega XS going second with a 1:13.965.
That is a massive gap which Tim has over the rest of the field. That's 5/10 over the championship leader, who, let's face it, will be a banker, but still a good lap as Nova. So the new full-time drivers, Tim, are absolutely smashing it at the start of the session. Nova goes provisional pole with a 13.399.
Yes, they are. So Nova and Tim Chipop, both drivers who, as you said, are our brand new drivers, have went to the front row, at least for now. It's still a provisional pole for them. We still have over 12 minutes left in this session, but potentially we could be looking at a brand new driver 1-2 front row lockout. Let's take a look at who else is on lap.
Market has started his lap properly in the McLaren.
We'll ride on board with Mackett here as he approaches the second sector. Looks like Mansell's pulling over to let Mackett go by, so good sportsmanship there. Mackett purple in Sector 1, so we might see a fast lap from him as well. In Sector 2 now, let's see when he gets to the end of it if he's going to be purple here as well. Taking it a little bit gingerly into these S's though. And that's probably the best thing to do. He does not want to invalidate his lap. The best thing to do, get a banker lap first, and then you can take some risk later on. So out of Sector 2.
Definitely a banker lap, and he's not pushing as much as he would like to. But again, this is going to be his first lap of the session, and he has the time to put into more, I'm sure.
And did you see him clip that curb there through that stadium section? He actually had to overcorrect just a little bit. And that is something very crucial that not just at this race course, but every race course we go to that these drivers have to look out for is you can use the curb a little bit, but if you use it too much, it's just going to spin you.
Yeah, that is a dangerous curb, and especially if you're running traction off and you've just put too much power in the car, that can absolutely ruin your lap because it is right at the end of the lap. So you're already trying to ensure that your lap is not ruined and you're putting a good time on the sheet. So it's really important to be careful as well as patient on that curb.
So riding on board once again with Ace Cobalt in the Red Bull. We'll see if he's able to get a better lap this time through the S's. He did not invalidate his lap, so that is good for him. Approaching the stadium section now, using the apex, using the curve, every bit of racetrack that he can find that is valid to use, and looks like he's going to be okay. A little slow through there, but still okay for a banker lap at least. And out of the final corner, he goes to the inside to try to get the shortest line around the corner, and he goes third, a 1:13.865 for the Red Bull driver.
That was a good lap. That was a really good lap from Cobalt. I think he should be hoping for maybe a little bit more increase or in the time, because I think he was a little bit cautious through the final sector, as Nelly has started another lap in the Ferrari.
Currently watching Cassidy as he is finishing up his lap. Then we'll go ahead and switch to Nelly on board with Cassidy through this stadium section. Let's see where he goes once he crosses that line. He's going a little bit slow though, and he's going into the pits, so he's not happy with his lap at all. We'll take a look at MV Nelly, who is now just exiting the second sector and approaching that third sector now through the S's. Or he's in the second sector now and about to approach the third sector rather once he gets out of the S's, but he invalidated his lap, so he will not be able to set a time lap this time.
Yeah, he messed up the second part of the S's there, went a little wide at the left-hander, did not lift off, and that probably compromised his final part of the assist. So I'm sure he would be coming back in and putting in another set of tires on that Ferrari car.
So we'll take a look at Tim Shapop here for just a minute. Looks like he is on a flying lap at the moment. Currently his best lap is still that 1:13.464 from earlier. But let's see if this lap is going to be any better. We ride on board with him through the first sector, down the first DRS straight, or technically the second DRS straight. A little bit of a lockup, actually a big lockup in that left front tire, so he's going to have to be careful there. Then he was turning dead left out of that corner. So that car definitely not handling the way he would want to.
That was probably one of the best assists I've seen, although he's not gaining on his time, but I think that was near perfect through the assist, and he is just behind his sector time. I'm not sure if he's going to complete this lap. Let's have a look.
And he does, so he crosses the line but does not improve his time. But one thing that you brought up is, that was a good set of S's, even though he did not improve on his time. But that's the thing, though, is you don't always have to improve on your time as long as you're consistent. Anybody in the world can go out there and eventually set one fast lap. But it's how you put a race together is having the consistency to set multiple fast laps, or at least fast-ish laps in a row.
Yeah, and I was just saying that, whereas Nova has gone absolutely flat out through the SS and he is up on his time, approaching the stadium section now. This will very well be an improvement if he hangs on to the lap for the next two corners.
So on board with Nova as he crosses the line, and he goes a 1:13.171. That is an impressive time for the McLaren driver of Nova, as we now take a look at trying to go to Nadim if we can, to see if he can complete his lap. So far it's looking good as he is in the first sector still.
Yeah, he started his lap. You can go on board with Morris here, but Morris is going slow as well, so this is not going to be a fast lap from him.
Looks like
Nadim meanwhile is on a lap.
Who?
Yeah, Nadim is on a lap as you said, and I think he's in the second sector right now.
Trying to get a look where Cassidy is as well. Cassidy, he is just a little bit behind Nadim, so we were watching Nadim first, then switch to Cassidy. A little loose out of the S's there for Nadim, but nothing that would warrant out of control sort of description, but nonetheless he is flying through here. So let's see if he can improve on his lap time. His current lap time was the definition of a banker lap, a 1:21. He can definitely do better than that. He goes wide out of that final corner and crosses the line, and he goes to third, a 1:13.552.
Yeah, that's a good lap from Nadim, and let's not forget the race winner in Japan. So not a slow driver by any means, and he's put his car in the top 3 right now. Still has time for one more lap.
And Cassidy went a 1:14.461, so he's going to have to think about maybe doing another lap here soon if he wants a better starting position. Let's take a look at Magna 2 Farico. I'm sorry if I butchered that name, but I'm going to call him Magna for today. So Magna here in the AlphaTauri going through the S's. So far, so good on that lap. Let's see if he is able to get a fast lap or not. He's out of the S's now and approaching that third sector. So through the stadium section, just a couple more corners to go. Still looking good. Purple in the second sector. Oh, and he invalidates his lap. So he is not going to get a time lap this time around as we look at James TLH44, who just started his lap.
And his lap time for Magna would have been 14.2, so that would have just put him P11 for now, but he will have to come back into the pits and have another go at this track.
So only 4 drivers have yet to set a time: Magna, James, Old Boy, and Shu. Old Boy, of course, is a reserve driver with us here today, so not sure if he's even wanting to complete a lap or not, but if he does, he's still got plenty of time.
Yeah, short lap time around here, plenty of time, and I've seen people go for consecutive runs as well over here, which is not something you see on every track, but I've seen people putting in more fuel and trying to go for 2 consecutive runs in a hope to get a better track position, which obviously is a trade-off between your tire wear because your tires will be a little worn at the start of the race.
And James has invalidated his lap, I just noticed, so we'll go ahead and take a look at his teammate of Shu, who, oh, wrong. I'm having a little bit of trouble finding these drivers, but I finally am able to look at Shu, who also invalidated his lap. So those 4 drivers at the bottom, they're going to have to be quick about it if they want to get another lap in. Taking a look at Omega XS,
who is on an outlap, so I think these drivers are now preparing for the final runs of the session, which has been close qualifying so far, as Nova is leading by 3 tenths now, but we wouldn't put it, we wouldn't put it past any of these drivers to challenge that time, although it seems like a very good time right now.
So Omega XS has started his final lap of the qualifying session, or at least more than likely his final lap, we'll put it that way. Looks like Morris Pace is also on the lap. We'll see if he's anywhere further ahead on the race course, and he is. He is actually in the 2nd sector, so we will take a look at Morris Pace as he goes through these S's. He's going to have to be very careful here, though. He seems to really be flirting with invalidating that lap, but did not do so, thankfully for him. So now underneath the Fanatic banner and approaching the stadium section, we'll see if he can improve on his 1:13.8. Currently good enough for 7th fastest is Morris Pace, but he definitely wants to get quicker if he can. Around the final 2 corners here, let's see if he's able to do it as he crosses the line. It's going to be a 1:13, quick enough for 4th, a 1:13.656 for Morris Pace.
Omex behind is up by 2 tenths, almost 3 tenths into the 2nd sector split. So this would put him in the midfield as he almost loses the car coming out of the stadium section. That would have probably given away all the lap time he has gained, but he has gained a lot of time and has put his car P4.
1:13.636 for Omega. So that's a pretty decent lap, definitely where he needs to be if he's wanting to try to clinch the championship today. Take a look at
good lap time from him, but I'm sure there was at least 1 or 2 tenths there because of the almost ruining of the lap which he did there, as I'm following Nova, who's yet to start his lap.
So looking at Mackett now, looks like Mackett actually got held up by a Haas car through the S's, so that's not going to do his lap time any favors. Through the stadium section now, we'll see if he can improve. His best time is a 1:13.959, good enough for only 10th at the moment out of these 16 cars that we have with us today. Let's see if he's able to do any better as he crosses the line. He does not improve. It's a 1:14.0 for Mackett that time, so unless he wants to stay out for another lap, what you see for him is what you're going to get, as James is now on a lap in his Mercedes. So James on the 2nd DRS straight now. About to enter the 2nd sector here momentarily. A lockup, though, from the front left tire of James's Mercedes, so that's not going to do himself any favors at all.
There's traffic up ahead, Tim. You can see on the minimap there are drivers who are preparing for the hot laps right now, so they are not fast cars, and James would be hoping he doesn't catch any of them before the end of his only hot lap of the session.
And it's going to be close, but I think he's going to be okay, but only just. As Nova goes even quicker, a 1:13.069 for Nova. That is a fantastic time.
That is a good time indeed, but look out for Nadeem, who might clinch the position of Tim Shapop here. He's looking good for now. Nadeem in his Alpha Tauri and coming across the finish line. He does take P2.
So P2 for Nadeem. We'll go and take a look at Magna now. Let's see if he can get a lap in at all. Looks like he is approaching the stadium section. Oh, he's invalidated it, though. He has invalidated his lap, so he will not be able to set a time lap. Let's take a look at Old Boy. He's out for his only hot lap of the session. He's in the second sector now. So Old Boy, our reserve driver for the day in the Alfa Romeo, we'll see if he can do anything. And looks like Shu is on a lap as well, who is just behind him.
Old Boy has invalidated his lap time, so Shu can clinch P14 here. And let's see if he can go any faster, because Shu is not a slow driver by any means as he approaches the stadium sector now.
Old Boy invalidated his lap, so we'll take a look at Shu. On board with Shu, Old Boy and Magna, they will not be able to set a time, but Shu still might be able to. As he goes out of the final corner, no lap invalidation. He crosses the line, and he goes to 12th place, a 1:14.024 for Shu. So I believe that what you see is what you're going to get.
Yeah, that is the end of qualifying, because I think everyone is done with the final runs. And Nova and Nadeem are on the front row.
So a very good showing for our brand new full-time drivers, Nova and Tim Shapop being first and third. Of course, a good showing as well for Nadeem there in second. As you said, he's a normal driver in the GP2 series, so he probably knows his way around these guys a little bit better than the new guys. Omega, our championship leader and possible champion at the end of this season, is in fourth with Morris Pace in fifth. And in fact, just to give you a quick update on the point standings, it is Vinelli that is second place to Omega X, Mackett in third, Morris Pace in fourth, and Mansell in fifth. That's your top five for our point standings as we just wait to run out the clock before we can get this race started.
Yeah, it is going to be an exciting race, because you can see the run up to turn 1 is very, very long, which is why starting on the front row, where you would want to start on any other track, it's not always the best position on this track, because the cars behind can take advantage of slipstream and try to get in front. But talking about the constructors, it's Haas who's leading the constructors championship with 308 points, and Williams just behind them, right on their heels. The gap is less than 30 points right now, just with the 289 points. So this is going to be close with the final 3 races to go, including this one.
So now it is time to get some predictions in. This is just something that I like to do for myself, and anyone watching, if you want to join in, go ahead. But our top 3 predictions, in any order, I'm going to go with Nova, Tim Shapop, and we're going to throw Morris Pace in there as well. That is my top 3 in any order.
Yeah, I'd go for Tim Shapop as well, with Nadeem, and I think I'll go with Mansell this time. I think it's been a while since we have seen him at the top step of the podium, so let's hope. Although that's not in particular order, but yeah, let's hope for a good race for Mansell.
So just waiting to get the cars on the track for our formation lap. It's a beautiful paddock, though, here at this circuit. I've got to admit. Of course, I say that about every circuit, but it might just be because I'm a motorsports fan. Like you show me a picture of I don't know, a bunch of squares or something, I would be like, okay, the artist obviously knows what they're doing, but it really doesn't tickle my fancy. You show me just an amateur photograph of literally any racetrack in the world, and I'm automatically going to think it's beautiful, because in my mind, I'm just picturing race cars just going around that place at full speed. You show me the mostly abandoned ruins of the old Monza oval circuit, and I still love it.
That's the beauty of motorsport, Tim. And I'm sure, here I think this was the track where the legendary Kimi Raikkonen did not really care about the DJ enjoying his music on the podium. And I think it gave way to one of the most iconic post-race celebrations I've seen. But this is also the track where Lewis Hamilton has won a couple of his championships. I've seen them on this track. I think it was 2017 as well as 2018, if I'm not wrong. I could be wrong though. So let's see if Omex can repeat that. He is fighting for a Constructors' Championship as well. Although I don't see his teammate here today, but the Williams are behind the Haas cars right now. So while he is thinking about his Drivers' Championship, I'm sure he's thinking about the Constructors' Championship as well if he wants to win the double. But he's in P4 right now and he has a long race to go. But he has it within his capabilities to at least get on the podium, if not the race win.
So just an update on your starting lineup. Nova, our brand new driver in first. Nadeem in second. Tim Shapop, another brand new driver in third. Omega X in fourth place. Morris Pace in fifth. Ace Cobalt in sixth. Mansell back there in the Haas in seventh place. Eighth is Envy Nelly, who was disqualified from the formation lap but not the race. Then Rording in ninth in the Renault. Harwin Robb in 10th in the Red Bull. Mackett also disqualified from the formation lap in the McLaren in 11th. Shu in 12th. 13th is Cassidy. James in 14th. Magna in 15th. And Old Boy, our reserve for today, in 16th place.
Yeah, and look at those tire choices. It has not surprised me to see some cars on the softs as well at the bottom of the grid. So not everyone on those mediums as some people would expect. You can see Cassidy as well as Old Boy on those soft tires, hoping to get good launches off the line, which they should get in theory.
And just waiting for all the drivers to find their place, and here we go. You hear those engines revving, you hear those itchel petty feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights. We are green for the Speed Force Racing GP2 series in Mexico. And already Nadeem getting a good launch off of that line. Nova having to try to defend his position, and he dives down behind Nadeem, and Omega X already up into third place. It is almost 3 wide for the first position. And who is going to get it? It is Nadeem so far with the advantage, but Nova going up the inside is going to get past Nadeem, and Nadeem drops back to third because Omega X has already put his Williams into second place and giving chase to the McLaren of Nova. A little bit behind, it looks like Tim Shapop has dropped down to fourth. Ace Cobalt up to fifth. Morris Pace in sixth, and Mansell in seventh. The two Haas's running together as Cassidy already has a 10-second time penalty and is retired from the session.
Cassidy is out of the race in the racing point.
Did you see what happened?
It's a virtual section. Yeah, that was at the section of the track where, oh, that's Shoaib with wing damage. That his front wing absolutely gone. Sorry Tim for that, but Cassidy, I'm not sure how he retired because that's a very slow corner going through that section of the track at the end of sector 1 where there's a left-hander, and I think it was just an unfortunate incident where he ran into the back of someone and has lost his front wing.
So under the virtual safety car now, I saw Mackett got a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Envy Nelly and Mansell have a 5-second time penalty as well. Not sure what that was about, but we are back under green flag conditions as Morris Paces just went around Mackett. So now the Haas drivers are running in 5th and 10th respectively, so not where they really need to be. Of course, they're sitting pretty good in the constructor standing, so they should be okay, but there's still a race going on for them, and you definitely do not want them to, or at least they don't want to drop down, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and further behind, Nelly was almost through on Kevin Robb in P4, and Robb pushing him to the extremities of the track here, pushing him all the way to the right, but it's all fair. And for now, it's Nelly going for a dive bomb, and he has almost made it work, but behind it's chaos.
Yeah, just behind him, it was Old Boy that spun. Our reserve driver has spun out. So you got a better look at that. Can you tell me what happened? Because I switched there just to the very end.
Yeah, so it was Nelly who was on the inside of Kevin Robb, and Kevin Robb is still struggling with his... Does he have damage? I'm not sure. But Kevin Robb had to go a little deep to avoid Nelly, and that resulted in Old Boy and probably Mansell as well as Magna almost running into the back of him. They started a whole chain events, and I think Old Boy definitely might be coming into the pits. I'm not sure if he has wing damage. Yeah, he definitely has wing damage. His end plate is missing on the right. He's staying out for now. As I see a Red Bull into the pits, there's Kevin Robb who is pitting because of the contact.
Meanwhile, I'm following this battle for third place. Tim Shipop really trying to hunt down Nadeem there for third. He is there, but he's got to wait on that DRS to be active, and it is not active quite yet. It should be, though, interestingly enough, but his rear wing was not open. So, and Tim Shipop got very loose out of that corner, so he's lost a little bit of ground to Nadeem already. Nadeem trying to give chase to Omega XS up behind him, though, or in front of him, rather, which Omega XS is behind Nova by a whopping 1.9 seconds.
That's a really strong start to the race by Nova, and he's showing exactly why he put his car on pole. He is quite quick on this track, and all this fighting right now between Tim Shipop and Nadeem as Tim Shipop goes into the wide is helping Nova and to some extent Omegs as well, because Omegs doesn't really need to worry about Nadeem right now in terms of defending. He can do his own race. As behind, it's Nelly who's trying to get a move done, but let's see if he can do that on Mackett in the McLaren.
So it's pretty much a three-car battle at the moment for the second position between Omegs, Nadeem, and Tim Shipop. And that's the battle that's the class of the field at the moment. Yeah, here he goes underneath him. They're side by side. Oh, wow, very close. Almost some contact between the two. Tim Shipop has to go through the grass. I wonder if he maybe picked up a warning for that. And he does get the move done. So move Tim Shipop up into the third position. Nadeem back to fourth. But now Nadeem, he's saying it's not over with yet, my friend. And he is giving chase to him. And Tim Shipop got very loose after going through the grass, just approaching the S's. So I'm honestly surprised that Nadeem was not able to capitalize on that and get back to the rear of Tim Shipop, but I think that he saw what happened and checked up and slowed down.
He did slow down, because especially if Tim Shipop was on the grass, that might not make the car very stable, and you have more risks of running into each other in such very, very high speed corners, and especially he's going to get DRS now on the main straight. Let's see if he goes for a move, and all this fighting, as we discussed earlier, is helping Omegs. The gap to Tim Shipop is more than a second, so Ferrari does not have DRS on the main straight, neither will it have it on the next DRS zone.
On board with Mack and then that McLaren as he's getting close to Envy. Oh, and Roardy, what happened to him?
He has lost it at the SS. I was not on board with him, but he has lost his car at the SS. You can see his Renault as Shoaib almost runs into the back of Old Boy, and let's see if anyone pits now. Everyone is past the pit area. Does anyone go in? Old Boy is in. Shoaib is on the hard tires. He's not going to come in anytime soon.
So since we are under the safety car, I do believe that a lot of the drivers up front are going to pit, because really the soft tires around this track are only going to last about 9 laps. We did see one driver yesterday in the GP3 series stretch it to 11 laps, but in my personal opinion, that's a little bit too long, and even if you can make 11 laps, that's about as long as you do want to stay out. So with it being 4 laps on these soft tires, I will not be surprised if we see these guys pit. Let's see what Nova does. Nova does not pit. So what does Omegs do? Omegs does not pit. Tim Shipop. Oh, Omegs and Tim Shipop do pit at the very last minute. So Nova is going to be left out on old tires while everyone behind him is going to have a fresh set of softs. Or possible softs. They might go to the mediums. Looks like Mackett's went to the mediums. Or no, Mackett stayed out.
Both McLaren stayed out. So it's definitely a team decision here to stay out. Although Mackett was on the medium tires, so that's understandable. But it's very surprising Nova did not. And yeah, as you said, it was a very, very late call by Omegs to come in. He actually cut the pit entry to come into the pits. So not sure if the game sees that as a warning for corner cutting, but he's out on those mediums, and I think that's the right call to him for now, because these mediums obviously won't go to the end, but it basically gives them a free pit stop under the safety car, and would help to, because it's a very long pit lane here. It's on the start finish straight, which is very, very fast, as we know, and I think a mediums to hards maybe from now would be possible. Maybe on the mediums to mediums would not really surprise me.
And the drivers that pitted for medium tires this time, we can almost guarantee, in fact, we will guarantee that they are going to have to pit again because the medium tires just cannot last another 30 laps. So they are definitely on a 2-stop strategy. Nova, he might be able to get that 1-stop strategy if he goes to soft to hard like you were mentioning, but of course the soft medium might also work. But with the safety car being out right now, Nova sitting up there with the pace that he has, and with only 5 laps on those soft tires, he should be able to actually stay out a little bit longer than what he would have under green flag conditions. So this might help him in the long run. Although no, Nova actually pitted. Nova decided to pit. So he dives down into the pits. He surrenders the lead, and he's going to maybe go for a fresh set of mediums as well.
And unfortunately for him, he has sped into the pit team. So that is a 5-second penalty he will not be able to get rid of.
I did not notice that he got that penalty, so I'm glad you pointed that out. Very unfortunate for Nova. He can definitely rebound from that. He's got the pace, I do believe, but maybe he should have just stayed out on those soft tires for a while.
Yeah, it was a late call, and I think he would have reacted to everyone else coming into the pits. So he has practically lost 10 positions or 9 positions here. And at the same time he has a 5-second penalty to deal with. But as you said, he has the pace to nullify that penalty, but he has a lot of overtaking to do now because everyone ahead of him is going to stay out for a long time before they come into the pits. Even the hard runners for now, I'm not sure if those hards will go 33 laps, but for Cobalt, but I'm sure Noah would be on the back of him in no time.
Waiting to see if the safety car will come in this lap. I believe it should, but don't quote me on that until you see the official word from race control. But it looks like when we go back green, it will be Mackett, Magna, Omegs, James, and Tim Chapop, your top 5, with Nadeem, Morris Pace, Envy, Nelly, Ace Cobalt, excuse me, and Nova with your remaining top 10.
Yeah, it's just old boy in the Alfa Romeo who's yet to catch up. And I think safety car is in this lap, as old boy has got a 3-second time penalty because he was trying to catch up to the pack.
So a bad day goes to...
There's going to be a safety car restart here, team.
Yeah, bad day goes to worse for old boy as Mackett is the control car over Magna, and he gets the jump on him down the straightaway. So we have a race back underway, lap 8 of 36 in the Mexican Grand Prix. A little bit of jostling around for position back there around the top 5, but James is still holding strong in the 4th. Tim Chapop still holding strong into 5th place. Looks like James is trying to dive out, look on the inside, but not able to do anything with it on Omeg, so he's going to have to fall back in line. Mackett is still pacing the field with Magna just behind him. These two guys are on old tires. Everyone behind him have a fresh set of Dr. Feelgood, so they're going to...
Something happened to Morris Pace there, and the Haas is dead last right now. It's Tim Chapop and James are fighting, and I think that's Tim Chapop into P4, so he has made up a place at the restart.
So Tim Chapop moves up into the 4th position, gives chase to Omegs just in front of him. Omegs will probably inherit the lead here sooner rather than later because of those old tires that Mackett and Magna are on, but it's only 7 laps. It could be a lot worse for sure. And it looks like Mackett has actually a decent amount of pace to where he might actually be able to hang on to this lead. So never mind what I said earlier, Omegs is fighting for second, at least for the time being. It's still a long race to go and a lot of pit strategy to still come into play.
Oh, and Nelly got pushed wide at the stadium section, and oh my god, he's going to lose a lot of places because of that. He's going to lose yet another place to Schwab and Cobalt, all the while watching from P13. I hope this doesn't end in case anyone, as Noah has made up a place on Kevin Robb.
And the Mercedes and the Ferrari still battling it out. Schwab trying to get around the Mercedes, and he does, but only just. And then some contact between Envy Nelly and Ace Cobalt. No wing damage on that Red Bull, though, very thankfully for him. So Ace Cobalt is going to have to hold on to that 13th position and try to get around Envy Nelly here another time. we'll go back to the battle for third, because it's no longer a battle for third. It is the fact that Tim Shapop has made the move over Omegs for third, and now he's giving chase to Magna just ahead of him in that Alpha Tower.
Tim Shapop looking really quick, and he made that move into the braking zone at the end of the second DRS, while DRS is not activated right now. But Tim, if you ride on board with any of these drivers, you'll probably be able to tell it has gotten overcast than what it was at the start of the race. So is there any rain in the air? I'm not sure, but Tim is probably going to make another place here on the start finish straight.
And here he goes underneath of Magna as they try to approach turn one, but Tim Shapop cannot go anywhere. He is just stuck there side by side, but he does have the preferred line into the corner, and he makes the move stick, move Tim Shapop up into the second position, Magna back to third. Omegs now trying to give chase to Magna for that third position, but so far cannot quite get the speed as Ace Cobalt has a 3-second time penalty.
Further behind, Nelly has gotten past Shuaib, so the Ferrari and Mercedes are in his favor right now. But Nelly has made his way back, and as things stands, he's set to lose a lot of points again to Omegs, so he has to take advantage of the tires he's on and get a move on, as Nova gets a 3-second time penalty in dirty air in the SS, and that will not help his race at all.
So Morris pacing the Haas after an unfortunate incident after the safety car pulled in. For whatever reason, put him back to 14th. He has now made the move around Ace Cobalt for 13th and working on the Mercedes of Shu just ahead of him, but not in a
that is Mansell, and I'm sorry Tim for cutting you in, but Mansell and James in the Mercedes had a real commit together. Mansell losing a lot of places, and because of that has forced Nova to pit because of wing damage. Here goes James now on Kevin Robb. All sorts of action happening here, and it has been a very eventful race in the first 11 laps of this Mexican Grand Prix.
On board with Old Boy as he gives chase to James. Now just watching James as he gives chase to Carwin Robb. Carwin Robb, he is going to have to put on a lot of defensive skills here. But look at Old Boy trying to go underneath him. James cannot quite make that move stick. But oh, there's contact just maybe between the Mercedes and the Alfa Romeo. And now Old Boy is underneath the James. So he's going to have that preferred line through this corner. Is he going to be able to clear him? Yes, he does. But only just move Old Boy up into the 7th position. James back to 8th as Invinelli is on his rear now. So we'll ride on board with Invinelli and the Ferrari as they go through the S's. No overtaking opportunities at the moment, but maybe when they approach that stadium section, Invinelli will get a chance. But he got just a little bit loose out of the S's and he was not able to keep the speed. So James is going to hold on to that 8th position at least for another corner, but Invinelli going underneath him now. They're side by side. Invinelli does not get the move done. James fights back and fights back hard. Side by side into the final corner, and wow, Invinelli almost came across his nose, but he does clear the Mercedes driver, at least for now. But will James get the DRS down this straightaway and have another run at him?
He will have a run and he will get the Ferrari, but talking about lose in the second sector, it was Cobalt who absolutely lost it and has lost a lot of time. But look at Mansell here. That's a double overtake on the main straight from Mansell in the Haas.
And Mansell, he is someone that I've actually raced with before in the past, not on F1, but actually on GT Sport, and he's a pretty good driver. So Mansell, hats off to you for actually being able to make that double overtake. He saw the opportunity and he just went ahead and took it. We'll go back and take a look at Magna and Nadim. It looks like the two teammates are having not really a battle, but they're getting close to one another.
Yeah, they are getting close to another, and I believe Omegs has made the move for the podium position. I think he was behind Magna for a while there, but he has made that move now. And Tim Shapop, the gap was 2 seconds up front to Mackett. It has reduced to 1.3 seconds now. So slowly but surely, the Ferrari is closing in on Mackett.
And the Ferrari, he has 6 laps on those medium tires, 12 laps for Mackett on the medium tires. So Tim Chapop definitely with a little bit better pace, as that would make sense, but Mackett can still go for a few more laps before he has to worry about a pit stop. But the time penalties are what's really going to bite them. 5 seconds for Mackett, 3 seconds for Tim Chapop, 6 seconds for Magna, as you can see there, 6 seconds for Old Boy, 3 for Mbinelli, and you can see it down the leaderboard, the penalties that these drivers are going to have to deal with once we get to the end of the race.
The penalties are going to be crucial around here, especially at the SS. If you miss one part of the section, you are very susceptible to receiving a warning, which is why once you accumulate 3 warning, it is a 3-second time penalty, and that is going to hurt drivers, and I'm sure penalties will decide at least 2 or 3 positions, if not more, in these races.
Riding on board with Carwin Robb, he was getting close to Old Boy just ahead of him, but now it's looked like Old Boy's put a little bit more of a gap between the two, and with 7 laps on those soft tires, Old Boy's going to have to pit sooner rather than later, so the best thing for Carwin Robb to do is just kind of keep pace with him without making any risk to try to get around him, because even if the race were to end right now, Carwin Robb would get that position because of the time penalties that Old Boy has. So Carwin just needs to hold steady on these hard tires and try to make them last as long as they can. The question is, will they be able to last until the very end of this race? Is that even a realistic scenario for this track?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they will last until the end of the race, if it remains dry, because it is getting quite dark here, and we don't have Jeff tell us what's going on weather-wise. I'm sure the drivers will be in his ear every lap to just have a check whether it's really going to rain here. But in all that while, Nelly has made a move on Mansell, so he has got his place back, the Ferrari driver, and these two on the exact same strategy. They are on the same tires with the same age on those tires. Nelly will now probably focus on trying to get to Kevin Robb, who is on hards, so theoretically he should be slower. But look at Tim Chapop. He is within 6/10 of Mackett, and we could see a move for the lead in a lap or two.
So on board with Tim Chapop as they go down this very long front straightaway and approach the first corner. Mackett can do nothing but watch behind him as Tim Chapop gets closer and closer. Meanwhile, Tim Chapop, he has a windshield full of a bright orange McLaren, but he gets very loose out of that corner. I don't know if you saw that, but he got loose and actually had to correct, so that actually helped Mackett out a little bit. He lost about 0.2 of a second on Mackett, but now he's quickly gained that back. That just goes to show not only the pace that Tim Chapop has around here, but just how much those newer tires can make a difference.
Those new tires are definitely making a difference, and the medium tires that Mackett is on right now must be really second hand right now. And yeah, I did see that he went very loose out of the first and the second corner, which is, I think, one of the trickiest first few corners on any track, because it's so easy to corner cut those set of corners. Here we go, this is round 2. If Mackett does not come into the pit, I think he is going to get overtaken.
So if you're Mackett, what are you thinking about right now? When are you planning on pitting?
I would have pit this lap, honestly. He's staying out for one more lap, thinking about the long game and probably going on a set of hards from now. But yeah, I think he would probably acknowledge at this point in time that he is on tires which are much worse than the car behind him. And at the same time, look at him, he's derating right now. You can see the red light flashing, so he's using up probably most of his energy trying to keep that track position, which is good for him for now, but I think he should be coming in probably at the end of this lap maybe, if he's thinking of that medium to hard strategy.
Tim Chapop, he is within striking distance of Mackett now as they exit the S's. Let's see if he's going to be able to make a move. He's not going to catch him in time for the stadium section, but he might be able to get him into turn number 1 if he plays his cards right. Tim Chapop, the best thing for him is to just stay locked to the gearbox of that McLaren as they come out of the final corner right about now they've entered it, bypassing that pit entrance. And no, Mackett actually does decide to pit, so Tim Shapop will inherit the lead. Did not have to worry about making an overtake on track. So Tim Shapopo, Megs, and Nadeem, your top three now. Mackett, he will likely be going for another set of medium tires. We actually know he won't, though, because he needs to have another compound, so we'll see what he does. He does go to the hard tire, so he will make it to the end of the race on those hard tires.
He will go to the end, and he had to serve his 5-second penalty in the pits, so that will not help his race at all. But Tim Shapop right now is in prime position to lead this race, because I think he started the race on a set of soft tires. So if he has another set of mediums, a fresh set of mediums, he can go maybe 5 more laps on this set of tires and then pit for another set of mediums at the end of the race.
So currently watching Mansell as he's getting close to Envy Nelly there in that 5th position, and Mansell just a couple corners ago got very loose. I thought for a minute that he was going to be spinning through the grass, but he was able to hang on to it and continue his pursuit of a Ferrari ahead of him. That would be a top 5 if Mansell can get around him. But it's only lap 17 of 36. We have just passed the halfway mark not too long ago, so it's really getting down to the wire to where you need to start thinking about what you need to do for your end race. How, when are you going to make that overtake? We got to let the pit strategy play out, but after that, you really got to be thinking, all right, what position can I realistically finish in, and what do I need to do to fight for that position?
Very true, Tim. And these two have been in a battle for more than 6-7 laps now, maybe more, Nelly and Mansell, since Mansell made that double overtake work on the start-finish straight. Ever since then, once Nelly got him back, Mansell has been itching away at the gap as behind. It is James. Noah has retired in the pits. So our man on pole has retired in the pits, Tim, and that is unfortunate to see. But there's a yellow flag which I think should be going away pretty soon.
So Nova, who could have won in his debut, just unfortunately had a bad pit stop. Well, not a bad pit stop. He was speeding in the pit lane under the safety car, and he just could not recover. So for whatever reason, he has decided to retire. We got one more driver in the field that could win in their debut, and that is Tim Shapop, because Old Boy has retired as well.
Old Boy has retired, and we are following Magna right now. At least I'm following Magna right now. He's trying to make an overtake work from around the outside, and that's a good move, but if he's thinking long term here, he will lose the position on the start finish straight.
So Shu trying to set up a good pass for him down the straightaway, but let's see what the gap is. 0.6 of a second, but now quickly dropping 0.5 of a second now, 0.4 of a second. Shu is coming, but is he going to be able to have enough time to get around Magna by the time they get to turn number 1? It's going to be close. He's going to try and go for it, but cannot make the move stick, so he has to fall back in line. Magna is going to be safe at least for a couple more corners. So Shu should have DRS down this straightaway, but again, not close enough to make the move on Magna quite yet. Magna, with those fresh set of softs, is really doing himself a lot of favors, at least for the time being, to stay ahead of Shu. But Magna's going to have to pit again before we get to the end of this race. So he's going to be losing that position eventually.
He will, but I'm not so sure if Shu's tire will go to the end as well. He's on 16 lap old hard, and if he wants to make the strategy work, he has to do a total of 33 laps on those hard tires. That's practically the entire race. Now we do have tracks where that's possible, but let's see if Shoaib really goes for a strategy or decides to pit on a set of mediums. If he picks on a set of mediums right now, he would comfortably go to the end of the race and still be competitive. So let's see what Shoaib does in the next couple of laps.
Currently taking a look at Morris Pace, because he and Mansell are locked in a very tight battle with Envy Nelly for the 5th position. Mansell is within 0.4 of a second. Morris Pace is within half a second of his teammate. So these two Haas guys could maybe team up and try to get around this Ferrari, but Mansell has more pace than Morris Pace, no pun intended. And so that is really going to do him a lot of favors as he just tries to dive underneath of Envy Nelly. Maybe, I thought he was going to try to, but that's a very short straightaway, so it's really not much of a overtaking opportunity. So Mansell, being the smart driver that he is really just going to be patient and wait for the car to come to him. Through these S's, though, he's lost a lot of time to that Ferrari driver. He's now back half a second behind the Ferrari and even dropping back further still.
James has retired in the pits as well, so basically, Tim, if you finish in this race, you will get points.
And that's a lot like what it was yesterday in the GP3 series. Only 10 drivers finished at the end. So it's good if you're one of the drivers still out there. It's not so good if you've already retired. But Mansell diving down to make his, what I assume to be his final pit stop of the race. We'll take a look at his teammate of Morris Pace, who is 1.1 seconds behind Binelli, and do not think he's going to be able to... Oh my goodness, look at that! So there was a slow Mercedes on the front straightaway. Not sure who that was, but Binelli and Morris Pace had to do a lot of evasive action to get around him. Or was that Mackett that you were saying?
No, that was Mackett on the move, and he has overtaken Schwab. I think the Mercedes which you saw was the ghost of James, who had retired in the pits. And the car was just coming out as Tim Chipper gets another 3-second time penalty. So the gap which he had was enough earlier. It is not enough now, and Omex, he does not have any time penalties right now. So assuming both these drivers will pit one more time, Omex is in the driving seat to win the race right now.
That would definitely help him in the championship standings. Might come close to clinching the championship, maybe not. I cannot do the math off the top of my head, I will say that right now. So we won't necessarily be able to get confirmation for you at the end of the race.
Well, it's simple this time for us, thankfully, Tim. For the championship to be sealed in this race, Omex has to win the race and Nelly has to finish outside of points. That's pretty much it. But Tim Chipop has pitted on another set of mediums. So let's see where he comes out. He comes out 1.5 seconds behind Magna. We're still going to go on for a few laps. And let's see when Omex responds to that pit stop, as Mansell has pitted as well. So Mansell has made the undercut on Nelly, and Nelly and Morris Pace, who are P4, P5 right now, both of them should be in at the end of this lap.
So we'll go back and take a look at Morris Pace like you were talking about. We'll ride not on board, but just outside of the car as we get a better look at the battle. And Morris, he seems like he is starting to get a little bit faster, but maybe not fast enough to get around that Ferrari.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if he does the opposite to the Ferrari in terms of pit stops, because Nelly, maybe it's a setup or something else, but both of them, yeah, that's exactly what he does. And Morris is into the pits. Nelly continues on for one more lap, but Nelly seems to have really good straight line speed here this time. Maybe it's a setup, or maybe it's just the exit which is getting out of the final corner. But Mansell has tried for a lot of laps, so has Morris now, and none of them have been able to overtake him on the main straight. But Morris is out on a set of softs which arguably should go to the end of the race, and he probably will overtake his teammate because of those car advantage.
So there you see Morris Pace just out of the pits. Omeg's probably going to pit here very soon, as well as Nadim. Carwin Robb,
yeah,
might... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Omex and Nadim both are trying to stretch this stint out and try to pit on maybe lap 24, 25 and try to run the soft tires till the end rather than mediums as Tim Chipop has chosen. So I think that might be their strategy. Let's see if Omex is coming in. I think he is. Yeah, Omex is in. Nadim stays out.
So Megis is in, Nadim stays out, as you said. Carwin Robb stays out as well. He might, keyword might, be able to stretch those tires to the very end of this race. I have seen drivers do it before. I've seen a driver win a race after stretching his hard tires over 30 laps, but that was at Monaco. This obviously is not Monaco, so this might be a little bit different scenario for Carwin Robb, but nonetheless, if he can do it, hats off to him. Whether he wins the race or finishes 5th or whatever, if he can make those tires last, fair play to him.
Yeah, it would be a feat and a half because that's a lot of laps. That's 30 to 33 laps on this entire race on the hard tires, and Tim Shipop has gotten past. It's a 5-second penalty for Shoaib, who has retired in the pit lane, so he doesn't really need to care about the penalty. But Tim Shipop is into P3 now, and the gap which he has to Omegs right now is just about enough to cover his 6-second penalties, but Omegs with those faster red-walled soft tires will be making inroads pretty soon, as he's already overtaken Maggot here before they enter the stadium section. So Omegs on a charge right now.
And Omegs might be able to, and I'm sure this is what he's trying to do, he might be able to make it to the end of the race. That would be 12 laps on those tires if he does. That's a lot, but you also got to remember that there's less fuel in the car now than there was when they started, so that does help the tire wear a little bit. So Omegs might have made the right call to put those soft tires on, and it might just get him a podium today.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I think he will be able to make those work. 12 laps is a little, stretching it a little on those softs, but considering the car will have considerably lesser fuel than at the start of the race. So there's a yellow flag somewhere. Is that a Haas going slow? I'm not sure if Morris Space had a moment. It is fit and fine now. And if we lose one more car here, then that would be half of the field that we started with this race.
It's more of a battle of attrition around here as Omegs gets a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corner in the S's. I was riding on board with him when it happened, and it looked like he cut it a little close, and then he got that time penalty, so that just confirmed my fears that he in fact did cut it close. So let's see how many that is for him. Only 3 seconds, so that could definitely be worse. He's got 9 seconds and 6 seconds ahead of him. So Omegs may not get that podium, but he also might. Carwin Robb dives down to the pit, so apparently he cannot make those hard tires last, so he's going to probably go on a fresh set of softs, which might actually be the best thing for him, I'm sure. And there he is on the fresh set of softs. Let's see if he can make his way up into the top 5 or not. He is in 7th place, might even lose position to Magna, but no, Magna has pitted, as is Morris Pace. So Carwin Robb will come out of the pits in 7th place. We'll see if he is able to chase down Indy, Nelly, and Mansell to even get into the top 5. I'm sure he'll be able to get by Nelly, or at least maybe. Their tire wear is very close. But as far as Mansell being 2.9 seconds ahead of Nelly, that's going to be a feat and a half for Carwin Robb to get.
Absolutely, and he has, Nadeem, meanwhile, has gotten ahead of Patrick.
And there's contact! Envy Nelly into the wall after contact from the Carwin Robb. Carwin Robb, we were riding on board with him, and he tried to do, well, I'm sure he didn't try to, but it looked like a bump and run kind of move that you would see in a short track over here in America. And Nelly just went straight into the wall. So Carwin Robb got the position, but at what cost?
And he has damaged Nelly, so he will have to pit, and that's a real shame because he had just made his pit stop, and he will have to pit again. And with 9 laps to go, this could be a very, very tough race for Nelly.
And it is not what he needed, especially since his closest championship rival, the only one that he really wants to beat, is running in 2nd place. If he finishes in 2nd place, he will not clinch the championship, and that's going to make it that much harder for Nelly to get that win. So really the best thing for Nelly right now is the fact that he's still going to get points just by default. Even if he DNF'd out of the race right now, he would still get points simply because, as you pointed out, almost all of our drivers, or almost half the field rather, has DNF from this race.
Yeah, he is going to get 4 points right now as it stands, and that is just about enough. It is enough by just one single point, because that's how he will be able to take the championship into the next race, even if Omegs wins the race, as Kevin Robb is making a move on Mansell. Kevin Robb is through. Mansell will fight back, and the people in the stadium section have sight to behold as Mansell down the side of Kevin Robb. These two have gone almost the entire sector side by side.
Well, I said it was going to be a beat and a half if Carbon Robb was going to be able to get around Mansell, but I guess I did not take into consideration just how good those soft tires are. But look at Mansell going around Carbon Robb, using that DRS to his advantage, and then quickly jumps ahead of him, so move Mansell back up into the 5th position, at least for now.
Yeah, and Kevin Robb is going to have DRS at the end of this straight, and that could be the 3rd switch of positions we have seen in the 3 sectors. These guys are battling as Kevin Robb tries to go around the outside. That's a good move, and that's a very clean overtake I've seen. One of the cleanest moves I've seen in that section so far, and that's good racing from Red Bull and the Haas drivers.
Got by Mansell, he now pulls away, and I think that is what you see from Carbon Robb is what you're going to get. He just is probably going to be in 5th place. He might be able to catch Mackett up there in 4th, but that is going to take a lot of time. And Mansell, he's not going to be able to get back by Carbon Robb. Those medium tires just are not going to have the strength that he needs.
Yeah, he's already out of 1 second, so he will not have DRS on this lap. And if you ride on board with him, you will notice he doesn't have a lot of battery left, which probably means that is, for now, the battle done and dusted, and Robb has the position as up front. The gap between the top 2 is almost within the 2nd gap, so the gap which was more than 3 seconds once upon a time, as Omex is really holding in on Tim Chipop. And are we going to see a change in the lead at the start main straight, because it is less than a second right now, the gap, so Omex will have DRS on the Ferrari.
And even if the race were to end right now, Omegs would be scored as the winner because he only has 3 seconds worth of time penalties where Tim Chipop has 6. So Tim Chipop's best hope for a win today is to either find some miraculous bit of speed that gets him more than 3 seconds ahead of Omegs, or Omegs having a problem, neither of which I think is going to happen.
Nelly has retired. Where is that? That's at the exit of... That's a safety car.
And things just got real.
Nelly has retired at the exit of turn 2, or turn 3 rather. And that is handing it over to Omex on a platter here. We will go on a set of another fresh set of soft tires. And while others are staying out, Omex will come out in P5 right now. But all he needs, well, I say all he needs, he needs to overtake a lot of people here. But Kevin Robb has stayed out here, and to Nadeem right now, Tim, with just 6 laps to go, Nadeem is in P1 and he might win the race here, or maybe Robb as well.
I really do think that the race win is going to be between Carbon Robb, Mackett, or Nadeem, simply because of those time penalties that Tim Chipop and Omegs have. Now, if I was Nadeem, I would forget that the pit lane even exists. We do not want to see a repeat of what happened with Nova to where they make a last-minute decision to pit. Now, granted, with as close as we are to the end of the race, I doubt that we are going to see that from any of these drivers. But regardless, I would definitely put that thought out of my mind. And for that matter, I would put the thought out of my mind that there's anyone even behind me. If I'm Nadeem, as far as I'm concerned, I'm the only car out on that racetrack, and I'm going to run a couple fast laps, and then I'm going to be standing on the top spot of the podium. But if you're Carbon Robb, you're thinking, oh my goodness, how do I get by these 2 cars and win?
Absolutely, Robb has a really good chance here. Mackett, bit of a disadvantage here because he is on those hard tires. And let's see if he actually comes into the pits. Does he come in? He stays out. That's probably good thinking from the McLaren driver. But those hard tires are going to be incredibly hard to heat up at the end of the safety car period. And well, we might see 4 or 5 laps, maybe 4 laps under green flag racing at the end of the safety car. But this is going to be a really, it's a sprint race basically, with just 3 or 4 laps. It's a 5 lapper as we see in the unranked lobbies, but I'm sure it will be much more cleaner than that.
Oh, well, you know it's going to be much more cleaner than any of the online lobbies because these drivers in SFR actually know what they're doing. You go into
Absolutely,
an online
and
lobby.
this puts drivers like Mansell and Magna and Morris also on course for good points because of time penalties for Tim Shipop and Omex, because 3-second time penalties and with very few laps to go. Oh, that's Rob almost running at the back of Mackett, and well, Mackett was probably trying to do some burnouts to get heat into his tires because the pack has bunched up. It's a very short pack, there's 8 cars remaining. We might see the safety car coming in at the end of this lap.
Not, we will wait and see, but your lineup for this restart is going to be, and it does come in this lap, so it's going to be Nadeem, Mackett, Carwin, Rob, Tim Shipop, Omegs, your top 5, with Mansell, Magna, Morris, Pace, the remainder of the field. We have half of our drivers out of the race, half of our drivers still going strong. But let's see which one is going to win the race at the end of these remaining few laps. Nadeem is the control car. He determines when these guys restart. He's going to be trying to get a good jump on Mackett. It is going to be a huge advantage to Nadeem that Mackett is on those old medium tires because he's going to hold up the rest of the field at least for a moment, and Nadeem gets the jump on him, and he's already 0.7 of a second ahead. Let's take a look at Mackett behind him in second place, who actually got a decent start considering the age on his tires, but just behind him it is Carwin Robb and Tim Shipop, as well as Omegs that's having a nice battle, and Tim Shipop moves into the 4th position around Omegs. Omegs having to just try to defend behind him against SFR Mansell there in the Haas. And oh my goodness, the Red Bull of Carwin Robb has spun! He spun, not sure what happened, but that will completely eradicate any chance of him winning this race today. Tim Shipop in 3rd place is probably not going to win the race as well because he's got 6 seconds worth of time penalties and over a second behind 2nd place. So Nadeem and Mackett, it's just between those two, at least for the time being. And I think that as long as he can put some clean laps together, Nadeem might have just won this race.
Nadeem just needs to keep it penalty free for the final few laps of the race. He is not slow a driver by any means, and I think behind Mansell has wing damage here because the way he was missing the SS, I think that's definitely lack of downforce on that Haas car, and that is a real shame. He was looking so good because of time penalties for drivers up ahead, but it has not been a good restart for the Haas.
So it looks like Tim Shipop, he has given it everything he's got, though, to try to at least get a podium today. Don't think it's going to work out for him, but it's not over yet. He was closing in on Mackett just ahead of him, but now he's actually losing a little bit of ground to him as they go through turn number 1. Mackett on those old hard tires, I would love to know where that speed is coming from, and maybe I could borrow some, because he is doing a fantastic job having 15 laps on those tires already. But Tim Shipop, he has closed in on him, and he might be able to make the move here soon. Not that time, but he is right on the gearbox, and oh, he tried to go underneath it, tried to go through the grass to pass him, not able to do it. So Mackett's going to hold on to that position for now.
That's good defending from Mackett, and what this means is maybe for the entirety of the rest of the lap, Mackett is going to keep Tim Shipop, who has a 6-second time penalty behind, and Mackett goes wide there, and that would definitely be a warning, but probably just a second warning, I'm assuming, or the first even. We wouldn't know until we see the regulator, but Tim Shipop might be going for a move, and tires are touched, but I think it's, oh no, let's find here, oh, that's so close.
And DRS is enabled for Tim Shipop now, so he should be able to get around Mackett this time. But look behind him, it is Omegs, who is going to be coming strong to try to get around Tim Shipop. But is he going to be able to do it? Tim Shipop throws the block on him. He tries to follow him through. Now he's trying to go on the outside of him, not able to do it. Tim Shipop cannot get through by Mackett as well, so he's going to have to stay in the 3rd position for now. Meanwhile, Nadeem is 3.3 seconds ahead of this battle. He is loving this right now. All he's got to do is put together some clean laps. Yeah,
just 3 of those, and he will be the winner of this race. And I think deservedly so. Driving without penalties on this track is very, very difficult, as you can see right now, as there are 8 drivers and rather 5 of those have time penalties to their names. As Magna gets a time penalty again, and he is P8 right now. He will still score points, 4 points I believe for 8 places. Tim Shipov is trying up and under. That's a switchback move he's trying on Mackett, and what a defensive drive it has been from the McLaren driver on those hard tires, which are 2 compounds harder or slower than the soft which Tim Shipov and Omegs are on.
Shipov trying once again to get around Mackett, but cannot quite make that move stick. I cannot believe that Mackett has held on to the position as long as he has on those tires, and I will forever be in awe of what he's been able to do. But contact between Mackett and Tim Shipov. Tim Shipov gets into the back of Mackett. Is there any wing damage on that Ferrari?
I didn't see any wings flying, so for now he is still in front Mackett. And forget time penalties, he might just stay ahead on track as things stands, because Tim Shipov is throwing everything at him, including DRS, including the battery, and he's still staying behind.
And Tim Shipov does have wing damage. The right side in play to that front wing is gone. So the fact that he's even able to hit the S's as well as he is right now is so impressive. He is keeping pace with Mackett. And is he actually going to go around him? He tries. There's contact. Both of them spin into the stadium section. Omegs goes around for second place. Tim Shipov tries to rejoin the race. So does Mackett. And they are not going to be happy with each other at all. Mansell comes through for third place. So it is now Nadeem, Omegs, and Mansell, your top 3. It is the final lap. Nadeem has started the final lap now. Omegs and Mansell are coming around across the line for their final lap as well. Carwin Robb, after spinning, has now found his way back in the 4th place with a very, very, very small chance at a podium. Mansell ahead of him has no time penalty whatsoever, but Omegs does have 3 seconds worth, and it's going to be so very close for Carwin Robb, who's got 3 seconds as well, but I do not believe he's going to be able to get that podium position today.
It's the last lap, Tim, and Nadeem is going to win this, and Mansell might get P2 here because of Omegs' penalty.
Carwin Robb getting very close to Mansell there in the 2nd sector. We will go to Nadeem here in just a moment. He's going through the S's right now, about to approach the stadium section. But the battle for either 2nd or 3rd is on your screen right now. Omegs is ahead. I think he's safe for the podium. Carwin Robb trying to get around Mansell, just give himself any chance at the podium, which he will not get because he just picked up another time penalty. So now Nadeem rounding the final 2 corners. He would not be denied today. He will be victorious in the GP2 Series Mexican Grand Prix. He's already celebrating as he crosses the line. Congratulations to Nadeem. Omegs in 2nd place. Mansell will cross the line in 3rd, but will he inherit the 2nd position? No, he will not. Mansell in 3rd, Carwin Robb in 4th, but drops down to 5th as Mackett inherits 4th, and Tim Shipov will stay in 6th. Morris Pace in 7th place. With a 3-second time penalty, he'll drop down a little bit, but he will still maintain his 7th position, with Magna going to finish in 8th. What a finish that was.
Absolute mayhem in the final few laps, and lot of incidents for the stewards to think about. And I'm not sure if you're riding on board or were following the battle between Carwin Robb and Mansell on the last lap, but Carwin Robb almost took both of them out. He was trying a move at the entry to the stadium section despite having a 6-second time penalty, and that was really well done from Mansell here. And I think I got 2 of the 3 predictions right. I will have to rewatch the stream for that, but I think I did have Nadeem and Mansell as my podium predictions, so I'm happy with that result. And because Omegs did not win the race, he will leave Mexico with a further 18 points, which is not enough to seal the championship this round.
So we'll be able to talk to our top 3 finishers here in just a moment. But here are your official results for the GP2 Series Mexican Grand Prix. Nadeem emerging victorious in his AlphaTauri in 1st place, with Omegs in 2nd place. He's not clinched the championship quite yet, but maybe next week for him. Mansell with a miraculous third place in the Haas. Mackett in fourth, a good recovery there. Carwin Robb, a good recovery there as well for fifth. Tim Shapop in his debut race finishes in sixth, not too shabby. Morris Pace in seventh, Magna in eighth, NV Nelly in ninth, 10th is Shu, 11th is James, Old Boy in 12th, 13th is Nova, Ace Cobalt in 14th, 15th is Rording, and Cassidy in the 16th position. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to all three of our podium finishers. I'm sure that Mansell will join us, and who knows about Omegs and Nadim.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if they are able to join us. I've already sent invites to Nadim as well as Mansell, and my next invite should be to our regular podium getter, which is Omegs, and let's see if he's able to join us for the post-race interviews.
Uh-oh. Game crashed. Alright, so I believe we are still live, everybody. The game has crashed, so if we can get some drivers into our party, we will start a new stream specifically for the interviews. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the race.
Nadim is in as well. I doubt the stream is still live because it stops when the game crashes.
I mean, it's probably still live, but the problem is that I don't think that they can hear anybody. And it is not loading the error, so I'm going to have to actually restart the entire system because it's just not loading for me at all.
Alright, then we'll wait. You can probably join back.
Yeah, so this will be a few minutes, guys, so just bear with us. My system won't even turn off. Alright, I think that's probably actually going to do it for this stream then, because right now my system doesn't even want to turn off. As much as I hate to, I might actually have to unplug it if it doesn't start cooperating. So, to everyone and anyone who might still be in the stream, we're sorry we cannot get the interviews done today, but we hope you enjoyed the race. Thank you so much for watching. Thank each and every driver for racing with us. Congratulations to Nadim